Welcome back to I'm Still Here. I'm Larry.
And I'm Heather. In 1998, at the age of 26, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. It changed everything for us, but I'm still here.
Okay. Today.
What
are we going to do?
I want to talk about just all the things that I would have been so helpful to hear at the beginning. And to revisit probably about once every 3 days, I feel like, in the beginning.
You mean now? Or no, in the beginning?
In the beginning, especially. Yeah. Because, boy, that's just a time that's so hard. And I don't think we can... I think we always need reassurance, or I needed reassurance, or whatever. But I just... these are some of the things that I did hear and were told to me, but also some of the things that I wish I would have.
And did you refresh yourself often with some of these things?
Oh, yeah. For sure. And I looked for them. I kind of found the people that would help me do them, right? Okay. So when I was thinking about this episode, and whatever, sometimes I think about a title or something like that, but I was really thinking about back in the day, Home Depot used to say, "You can do it, we can help." Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel about going through treatment or going through learning that you have cancer and learning to live with it. I don't know. I did a conference recently with people that have cancer, and they were talking about survivors and thrivers and all that stuff. And I think the longer that I've lived with cancer, the less I relate to any of those kind of words.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. I have survived cancer, but I don't feel like that's who I am, or that doesn't encompass like me in terms of, I just feel like living with cancer is a better, I don't know.
I think you're full of crap.
Why? What do you think?
You mean this doesn't define you?
Well...
You may not want it to define you at times. Or have other things on your mind or different priorities or whatever, but this for sure defines you, and I think that's okay at times in your life that it does define you. Yeah. I think you're proud of that. I think you should be proud of that. I don't know if, it's not... We probably shouldn't be proud of things that we didn't... You know what I mean?
I think so. I think it's kind of a little bit of like, what is your legacy going to be? Is it that I lived through cancer?
No,
come on.
Okay, I got that.
You know what I mean? Like, I hope that my legacy is far beyond that. And if cancer is the vehicle to, through which I helped people or I served and made a bigger impact on the world, then great.
Gotcha.
But just to simply say that I'm a survivor,
right? That's like saying somebody didn't beat cancer.
Yeah,
it's not their fault.
Yeah, well,
they didn't
that's a whole nother thing too. Like, all of the language that we use in cancer is really, it applies to some people, but some people do want to fight, and I certainly wanted to fight too, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be that language, and it certainly doesn't mean that you've lost. I mean, right. I think we've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. The best way to, like, when was the last time you read an obituary that said they lost their fight with heart disease? Like, come on. Why are we doing this with cancer? What it really says to me is, if you die of cancer, it's because of something you didn't do.
Right.
It puts the onus on the person, where health and lifestyle choices are a part of every disease that people die of. But for some reason with cancer, we've just really, I think because we don't have better words, we haven't figured out really how to talk about,
And it sounds good.
And it sounds good. Well, it's a rally cry, right? We need rally cries to help people come around us and those sort of things to happen. But the other end of it, there's a lot of sort of guilt and shame on the person that has cancer if things aren't going well. It's like, well, what aren't I doing? What did I do
Yeah.
wrong?
For sure.
And I don't think that's the case with even like something like COPD, which is like closely linked a lot of times to lifestyle choices. We don't shame people in the same way.
Obesity.
Obesity, exactly.
Okay, but now what we're
Okay.
talking about today. Sorry about that. That was my fault.
No, I think that's good to talk about, honestly. And these are also things that I think that when you are getting into this world, I remember the first time somebody called me a survivor, and I was like, I felt like I was 4 days in, and I was like, oh Lord, don't tell me that yet. Like I'm not even sure I have cancer yet.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take on. So again, that's what we're talking about today is kind of managing all of those. Everything kind of from a mental mindset type of standpoint, I feel like. So,
What do you got first?
I think the first thing that people need to hear is that this absolutely a cancer diagnosis is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And the response to other people, it just feels like as your brain is spinning, you also have these people oftentimes coming around you with great intentions, but it makes it more overwhelming. So I guess the first thing I feel like people need to hear is it is overwhelming, one step at a time. Like, focus on today. Like, what can I do today to take care of myself?
Yeah, I don't think there's been anyone ever diagnosed with cancer that it wasn't overwhelming. The period of time can be different, that it's overwhelming for them
sure.
and feel like they just have zero control of anything. But everybody's in that boat for a period of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would, and so just acknowledge that and give yourself some grace with that, right?
Sure.
I was thinking about one of the things that is a kind of a counter to that. So the person going through cancer has these people around them. And it can be somebody who's close to you. It can be a book you've read. It can be a mentor, of different, all different things. You don't have to actually know them. But one thing that I found really helpful was like, I've been through this. I will help you. I've been through this, or I've seen this happen, or, and I'll walk this with you. Like, so.
Does it have to be somebody you know?
No, that's what I was.
Yeah. I'm saying I will help you. That's a statement made by somebody.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the intent of this podcast too. Is
Okay.
I'm going to help you walk through this. You don't have to.
I'm saying you don't have to read their book, then give them a call, and they say, "I will help you."
No. That's the intent of this podcast is to help people. Walk through cancer. However that feels good to you. Sorry. However that, look for those people. They might not be immediately in your circle, but you can find them.
For sure.
And we all do, we all kind of have different personality types and styles that help us. So whatever feels good to you, seek that out.
Yeah.
Seek that out. So another thing I was thinking about was the fear is so intense, but don't let it paralyze you.
Let's go back to number one.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. But what do you mean?
I just mean, I guess what I is stand up to it. Think about it. Like, slow it down. I feel like overwhelmed to me feels like faucet on high, all of these kind of things, rush of thoughts. So when I think about fear, I think about the way that I learned how to handle it or stand up to it was to slow it down, think about one thought at a time.
That's what you did right there.
Yeah.
You found one thing or a couple of things that you could focus on that were positive, that you believed were making a decision, and that's where all of your energy went. So you took this whole big thing that was out of control, and you went, well, at least I can do that and that.
Yeah, but
and
I agree. And I think even though I also thought about what I was actually thinking about, which is, does that sound weird?
Yeah, being
but
in
it's
the moment
really
type of
true.
thing.
But just recognizing the thoughts through my head of, they're telling me I'm going to die. They're telling me I'm going to die. They're telling me I'm going to die. How do I take it? How do I think about this differently? Right?
Okay.
So there is a counter to every thought. And it's not that I was trying to be a Pollyanna or overly positive, but I just thought about if it's a negative thought, there can be a positive also. There's a counteract to that, whatever is running.
Did you get that advice?
No.
Or did you, you didn't read it in a book, you didn't get that advice, you just said trial and error, hey, I'm going to try this, and it made me feel better, and I'm going to do it more.
Yeah.
Is that more? Okay.
Yeah. Right. I just realized that I don't think I read it anywhere. There was so little material out in 1998 really about that. I guess maybe some of the Greg Anderson stuff helped definitely bolster that in terms of, but I don't know how quickly I found him either.
It was early.
I liken that also to kind of those discussions I had with Troy about statistics and just kind of that realization of like, okay, but someone did it. And so
I
I'll
know
be someone.
it was, you were in treatment.
Yeah.
I remember where I was in our house when you told me about the book.
Okay.
And Greg Anderson, and I was like, holy shit, wait, somebody's lived a long time with having as bad of whatever cancer as you have.
Yeah. His statement was, the tiger's out of the cage. That's what his doctor told him.
So I remember that going, that gave me hope.
Yeah.
Honestly, because, at that point, it was pretty dire. And when you told me about that, I was like, I didn't read the book, but, because it was a book, and I didn't read books back then. But I remember just going, okay, all right, somebody did this, and why not you?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, thoughts are powerful. That's kind of the theme of all of this is, but we can slow them down and we can change them, and it's not false hope. It's just, a different way of thinking.
No such thing.
Right. Yep. So, to kind of help with that, the people that are walking this path with you or the people that you're seeking out to give you encouragement, I think one thing that was really powerful was that people said, I believe in you. I believe in your ability to make good decisions as you move through this. I feel like I had you and Christy and my mom and Troy saying, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, or let's try it. And it wasn't...
I remember Troy specifically said those words. Mm-hmm. Where I don't know if I did. I don't know if I said, but Troy's like, yeah. I mean, in a very matter of fact, doctoral way, the way in knowing statistics and all of that. And he just said, yeah, you can do this. Yeah. I mean, and it came from a different level, to be honest with you. Yeah.
And I believe that in people also. Mm-hmm. I sometimes get off the phone, right, and go, oh yeah, they're going to do okay. They're going to be fine, right? You believing in yourself helps other people believe in you.
Gives them permission.
It does. And so, again, let's build those blocks as we go through cancer. Here's the next one. I've talked about this quite a bit too. You, as a person with cancer, you are the captain. You're the CEO. You're the boss. You're of your treatment / healing, right?
When you can. But if you can't, you've probably delegated that.
Right. So this is my note with that was hire good people, give them roles, and then allow for accountability in both ways. Dr. Mariver clearly was the CEO of my treatment plan. Yeah. She should be. She has the resume and beyond to do that, right?
And not just in medicine.
Right. Okay.
What we've learned over the years. It wasn't just in medicine.
Right.
She was the she gave you permission
Yeah.
to fight.
She did. Yeah. But again, ultimately, what I don't want people to be are fix me people, right? Like expecting that treatment or healing or whatever only happens in certain places, you know?
I don't know.
Okay, so like it's a lot of chemo cycles are once every 3 weeks. So it's not like you're only killing cancer on the days that you're there getting your medicine, right? I just want it to be more of an overall mentality of, all of every day is valuable in terms of killing cancer. And there's a lot of different ways to approach it, right?
For sure.
So I love Dr. Mariver, obviously, but I don't hold her ultimately. It's not just whatever she comes up with. That's all there is, right?
Yeah, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, you were definitely trying a bunch of different avenues, and it wasn't just her. Yeah.
So, and to kind of to piggyback on that, if you're in the realms of helping somebody do this or just walking alongside them, I think one thing that was really, really helpful to me was I'll help you pivot. I'll help you find more resources. I'll help you express yourself to others. And all of those things are important. It comes first from the person that's living with cancer to express themselves, to first listen to that voice that says, maybe this doesn't feel right, or I feel like I should do more, or this, whatever that is, right? Listening to that still small voice in your head that, especially as women, we've been taught to ignore. But then also being able to express yourself to somebody and having them say, oh yeah, let's look into that more. We could find some resources for this. And boy, I mean, Google's a lot more powerful now. Now don't Google your diagnosis, but just finding resources in terms of things you can do to help yourself.
And that can just be on a day-to-day basis too when you're going through treatment or going through hard times, is just, and you don't feel good about something.
Yeah.
Those people that you as the patient don't always have to be the person that kind of goes to war for that.
Yes.
Sometimes it is war.
Yep.
And getting your point across, or getting heard,
Yep.
or getting what you need in the right order. That can be others.
Yeah, I can remember many times that we had talked about something prior, and I knew that you were going to be the one that would be expressing, how something made me feel, or why, or whatever.
Well, for lack of better words, I was the dick in some situations. I mean, I did. I was like, I don't care. This is what she wants, and I know she wants this, and I'm going to make it happen. And that day, that was my role.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to, your anxiety and your all of that. I tried to head that off maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
And just let you be the patient.
Yeah. I think, did I talk about being sad?
No.
It's okay to be sad.
Let's talk about sad.
It's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's helpful to put maybe a little bit of a time limit on it, or to ask again for some, not accountability, but just maybe when you're feeling sad, to reach out to somebody after a period of time. I think it's fine to process it, but to stay there.
To stay there is the big key in this,
is the key in this, yeah. And I think sometimes, at least for me, I find that when I express myself, I can move through it rather than just, I don't know. Sometimes when you kind of go, oh, I'm sad, and you acknowledge it a little bit, but don't really go through it, it just doesn't go away. Mm-hmm. And again, it's going to come. It's going to keep coming even when you acknowledge it, right?
Even on a Thursday night when nothing's going on and you're sitting around and you don't have a good reason. You have a reason, but you don't have, nothing happened to cause the sadness, and it just happens. And that's okay as long as it doesn't go into Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
And also, I think oftentimes in the beginning it came to me really strongly when we were out with other people, you know?
Because there was evidence of normalcy.
Yes.
And we weren't there.
Yes. Yes.
For lack of better.
Yeah. And so that leads me to my next, point in terms of if you're with me, it's helpful to have somebody who will protect you and deflect and allow, or even again, stand up for you. I think we learned quickly, I could oftentimes say, I don't want to talk about that, or I can see where that's going. But I think just as quickly you were able to go, whoop.
Not everybody, it's not appropriate in every situation, but it's kind of like your bodyguard.
Yes.
Kind of like
totally
I'm
agree.
protecting the person, and that's my role, and I got to see it coming before it even happens.
Yep.
And make it go away.
Yes.
Not in a mean way. I'm not saying that in a
No.
mean way. It's just using tact and using your so you don't have to do it.
Right.
Right.
I think, too, it comes off differently to other people because, of course, they're not surprised if I'm emotional or this or
Right.
that.
No.
You know what I mean? I think it actually, a lot of times, would make people think a little bit more when you, as a rational, person, could say, whoa, we're not going to do that,
And sometimes it was just a look I had to give.
Right.
One of those.
Don't do this.
And they, it didn't even know. I mean,
yeah.
We have conversations all the time, and they mean nothing. But if a certain person going through something, just keep it vague like that in the room, we've probably all been there where somebody went out of, it's happened to me in as a teacher. Mm-hmm. Somebody runs out of my room crying, and I go, what just happened? Mm-hmm. Wait, what? Well, and there's some deep talk. I teach health, and there are some very serious things, and not even in a unit, but we might have talked about somebody dying, like in a CPR unit, somebody dying, and we say, for example, if they had a heart disease and their grandma just died 2 days ago of heart disease, it means everything for that young person. Yeah. But I didn't connect that, and so
Right. Yeah. So protection's important, deflection, that's what we've talked about, building that bubble, right? Mm-hmm. So the next thing is if people don't understand you, don't make them. Move on.
So, okay, who are you talking about here?
I guess for me, it was
from the patient.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
If people don't understand you, for example,
there were people in my life who would just, maybe I would encounter on a fairly regular basis, and every time what they had to say just came off to me. I'm sure it wasn't mean, but it came off wrong. And it just was like, you know what? I don't have
and now the
mental...
next time they open their mouth, you're expecting.
Yeah.
And you even take some of the things they say, which is human nature,
right?
By the way.
And you've made a list of them, but me just realizing I don't have the mental energy to deal with that. I just have to, I have to live in my head with the people that are kind of providing, I don't know, the help I need in terms of that. So
yeah,
and along with that, it's, for me, protect yourself. As a patient, you have to protect yourself. Priority number one. It might mean really tough conversations with people who are really close to you, because those people who are close to you, if they are putting all of their fears and their needs on you,
because they don't know.
It's
just, they're not doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Right. Or maybe that's the way the relationship has always been.
Yeah. And that can be a family member.
It will be a family member.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, I think. It'll be your spouse. It'll be your mom. It'll be your daughter, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It'll be those people who you are the one that has always fixed the problems. you can't fix their problems right now. You have to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were able to kind of discuss that fairly early. And not that you were not a dump on me kind of person, but I was, I think, somehow able to sort of articulate, like, I can't take any of that on right now.
Yeah, and tell them how you did that early on. How you got word out to everybody.
Well, it was 1998.
Yeah.
So I wrote letters.
You did.
And I told people that. Like, but it also...
They were like letters for dispersal. Please pass along. Please
Yes.
share.
Not only did
before sharing.
Yeah, and even with that, we had a person as a contact person for them. So it was, don't get a hold of me, please. If you're from my job, contact this person. If you're a family member, talk to Troy. Like, all of these kind of things. But
it's kind of like it makes it sound weird, whatever. But it was the right thing at the right time for everybody. You want to know you're supported as the patient and that people love you and are thinking about you and caring about you. But at that specific time, you don't necessarily need 20 people stopping by. You don't need the same person stopping by 4 times a week and checking on you when you don't need that check done.
Right. I also don't. Yeah, I agree. And the person, I guess, if you had somebody checking in on you at that level that wasn't, it would lead.
We're talking about negative.
It would lead me to say, what is it that you're trying to get? Like, what is it that you're trying to fulfill within yourself? And again,
that's where I would step in, and she would tell me, hey, this person. This didn't happen, by the way, for people listening. But this person stops by every other day, and they leave here, and it makes me feel drained. Well, I'm stopping by their house, and in a tactful way, I'm saying, it's not safe right now for her to have any visitors. So I'll let you know when she can have visitors again. But we really appreciate all your help you've given. I'll just lie. And I'm not ashamed of that by any means, but I'm going to protect her, number one, and I'm going to do whatever it's needed not to break people's, everybody hopefully thinks they're doing help or doing things for a helpful way, but I'm going to make sure it's for number one.
Yeah. So there's so much to this in terms of protecting yourself. If you have littles, you need to, find somebody to help care for them. Yeah. Meet their needs. And again, justifying that in my mind was, this is a short-term plan for a long-term gain, right? To be with her less right now and to take care of myself is hopefully putting together our future.
It's daycare. We think like back then it was like it's drop your dang kids off at daycare if you can afford it.
And if you can't afford it, ask somebody to help.
That's where we couldn't afford it, and not daycare every day. But we had a family friend who happened to move in the area, and then we had we had both. We had that, and then we had
a woman from church who was
just like
angel.
A grandma. I mean, just unbelievable that they were in our lives, at the right time, and were willing, and we took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's piggybacking on that, ask for what you need. Mm-hmm. So, big and little things. People do want to help. They're going to help you in a way that makes sense to them. Mm-hmm. Just like when we talk about love languages, right? I'm an acts of service person. So when I made dinner, I feel like, oh, you guys should all be like, woo, about that, because I love it when people do things for me, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not that person, it doesn't mean the same to you. So ask for what you need. At the hospital, you can ask for what you need, which is less information, more information, an appointment to back up to another appointment. You can ask for what you need, right? At work, hey, can I do this? I need to do this. Like advocating for yourself, and at home. All of those things.
And money.
Yes.
you've missed 5 out of the last 15 days
Yes.
because you've been doing treatment. Therefore, you're not getting paid for those 5 days. And you know you have bills coming up. And just, it's 2023.
Yeah.
You have that person in your life that'll do a fundraiser.
Yes.
That'll do a, what do they call them?
GoFundMe.
A GoFundMe.
Yes.
There are people out there that will help.
Yes.
And they don't know that that's what you need.
Yeah.
Ask for it.
And I agree. Be specific. Again, like we didn't.
Here's
need,
my situation.
We didn't need 20 casseroles in our freezer. We needed specific things. And
but they gave where I work, they gave me gas cards. And
they
stuff like that.
They
Huge.
took care of a really big bill for us. I'll never forget it. A
That's
really
right.
big bill for us, and it was literally an exchange of 2 sentences. Is there something we can help you with? And I said, well, we just got, and they're like, give it to me. It's taken
Done.
care of. That quickly. So, it makes
All of
people
those-
feel
all of-
really good
yeah.
to help other people too.
And you've been a good person to a lot of people.
Yeah.
The people listening to this, you've been a good person to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You've kind of, and not to make this sound weird, but cash in that shit.
Yes.
Cash that in. Cash that.
Yes.
You've done this and you haven't asked for a thing for, all these. Cash it in. You need help. Ask for it. Or
Yes.
have somebody on your behalf ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that has made such a huge impact on you,
Yeah.
especially because
Huge.
you hate to ask people for things, or you especially don't. But I look at that, and all I saw was goodness that came out of that. And also, I think it opened our hearts over the years. We say yes. We always say yes.
Always. Yeah.
If we can help, we're going to help. It's not always going to be huge. It's not always going to be financially. In fact, a lot of times it's not financially, but we're going to say yes. So do that. And then just to kind of wrap this up, the things that you do in those, in the early days, or the things that you're doing now, depending on where you are, they are the way forward, right? Like, build from your strengths, Again, going back to the overwhelm, it is overwhelming. But what can you do tomorrow to help move yourself forward through this?
Build that your self account.
Yes.
Every day
yes.
you're successful, you get to put something in your account that I can do this.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could. Now I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And likewise, don't beat yourself up about it, right? So do the things you can do. Build from your strengths. I talked a little bit about, like, for me, I think it was physical, knowing that I could take a walk or do those kind of things. And then that would be like, oh, then now I can try meditation or visualization, or, oh, I can just build from your strengths. Give yourself some grace. Ask for help.
Yeah.
You can do it. We can help.
You did it.
Yeah.
All right.
Hope that was helpful, you guys. And we'll talk to you soon.
Till next time. Hit it, bye.